Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome everyone to the regular business meeting of the Grosse Township Board of Trustees. It's January 28th, 2013. We've just completed a study session on a couple of issues, and I'm going to call the regular meeting to order. 7:38. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank those of you who took time to attend tonight. At this time, I'm going to break the order a little bit. We have obviously a critical announcement to make. I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Jim Budney, the liaison to the Public Services Commission. Mr. Budney?
Thank you, Brian. Before we begin tonight's meeting, the board, as well as myself, wanted to make a brief statement regarding the tragic work accident that occurred last week during a water main repair. The injury involves one of our DPS staff employees. At the request of the family of the employee, we've been asked to share that James Farrell's condition is critical and his injuries are life-threatening. So it's a very serious accident. The family's asking for privacy, and this request is going to be honored by us and hopefully by you. Therefore, due to the sensitivity of the matter, there is no need to entertain any discussion or public comment on this matter. We don't want any speculation on the matter. The investigations are ongoing, and when we have some definitive information, then we'll discuss it. But until then, no one in the township will be answering any questions on it. I would ask that everybody keep Jim and his family in their thoughts and prayers. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Bundy. And with that, let's just take a moment of silence to, just to hopefully move Jim along. Okay, thank you. All right, we'll then move additions, deletions to the agenda. Mr. Treasurer.
I'd like to make an addition to the closed session portion and add a township liability legal opinion to that.
Did we have a discussion with the, well, Mr. Sir, do you want to?
Here's where we are. If you want a legal update on it, then the closed session item needs to be a consideration of a written legal opinion that I provide regarding the liability. That's completely up to you whether or not you want that added to the agenda item or not. But that would require me to prepare a written legal opinion while we're sitting here and give to you this evening.
I don't think that.
Okay.
It's kind of under the gun, isn't it?
Yeah. All right, so we'll you withdraw that?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, sir. I would like to add to the action items the approval of the Township Board approving a gaming license for the International Wildlife Refuge Alliance. Looking for support?
Support.
Okay, a second by Mr. Budney. Those in favor of adding this action item signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It will be added as action item number 3. Are there any other additions or deletions? Action item 2. Thank you. I'm sorry, that'll be number. No, the wrong blanks there. Thank you. Any other additions, deletions to the agenda? All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving the agenda as amended signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered. The agenda stands amended. Consent agenda.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion to approve consent agenda 13-011. It includes the approval of the minutes of the January 14th, 2013 regular meeting, and approval of the check register dated January 25th, 2013.
Okay, a motion by Treasurer Van Os.
Second.
And I think Mr. Budley beat you again, seconded by Trustee Budley. Discussion among the board? All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None offered? Consent agenda stands approved. Moving to action items. First is the appointment.
Mr. Supervisor,
Mr. Rankin.
I move that the Roseville Township Board of Trustees appoint Ms. Cheryl Hurt to the Roseville Township Planning Commission, term of 1/28/13 to March 31st, 2014.
I'll second that.
Ms. Hurt was, we had a discussion with Ms. Hurt, with John Schweikert and myself, and I think that Ms. Hurt will bring a good level of experience to the Planning Commission, and we'd like to have her appointed to the Planning Commission.
Okay, she has an impressive resume, and we're going to enter. Mrs. Hurt is here. Ms. Hurt, I'll invite you up to the microphone to introduce yourself to Grosse Township, to our Board of Trustees. Do any of the trustees have any questions for her? Again, an impressive resume. I think she's going to bring a lot of talent and experience.
Mr. Supervisor?
Mr. Levesto.
I had no idea that Mrs. Hurt lived on Grosse Hill. We worked together a number of years ago, and I can tell you that she's a very thorough person, and I enjoyed working with her at the time. I would support her 100%.
I saw the double eagle on the resume. I wonder if Tom was going to say anything.
That was it. I didn't recognize you when I walked in the room, but congratulations. I'm glad you're willing to put some time in.
I am. I'm actually willing to help out. I've lived here for almost 7 years now, and I don't think I ever want to move. I think we want to stick around, so... You know, it's nice. I mean, Grosse Hill has sort of like a small town feel, but it's not really. So it's nice and safe. I like safe.
Okay.
So yeah, so
We'll be glad to
thank
hear
you.
that. Any other questions, comments for Mrs. Hurt from the board?
I just have one comment. Eric, do you want to put the terms in the motion?
Yeah, I actually read the term. It's January 28th, 13 to 3/31/14, March 31st, 14. Just to bring everyone up to speed, also, typically all the terms for the commissions are set terms, and this is filling a vacant term, so that's why this is a 1-year term, and then they're typically 3-year terms, but this is the last vacancy, so this does bring the planning commission up to full strength. And then just as a note, the planning commission appointment is actually a supervisor appointment, so it does not necessarily need board level approval, so I appreciate the supervisor bringing it to the board as a consideration for the rest of the board.
Well, I wouldn't consider an appointment that didn't meet with the liaison and the chairman's approval. So, any other comments for Mrs. Hurt? Those,
Just welcome aboard.
Thank you.
well, not yet. Those in favor of Mrs. Hurt's approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None offered. Okay, Jim.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining the township, and thanks for coming in this evening.
Thank you.
I guess I will, action item, this has been a late addition, this is the new action item number 2. I would move that the Grosse Hill Township Board of Trustees recognize the International Wildlife Refuge Alliance as a nonprofit organization operating in the community for the purpose of obtaining a charitable gaming license.
Second.
Okay, seconded by Clerk Ranka. Background, charitable gaming division of the Michigan Lottery requires that a nonprofit organization be recognized by the local governing body before a license will be issued. The International Wildlife Refuge Alliance is headquartered in Grosse Hill Township, will be hosting a fundraising event later this spring. We regularly do this for GIRA, Grosse Hill Educational Foundation, when they're having any kind of charitable gaming, a not-for-profit organization holding fundraisers will normally have a bingo or lottery raffle or something, and all. To have that legally, they have to have a license from the state of Michigan. So this is, since they're headquartered here, Mr. Benny asked me to put this on the agenda, and since it was a short agenda, I made it a late addition. We can get this done tonight.
Got a question.
Yes, sir.
Is it a nonprofit? Are they certified as nonprofit?
They are a 501c3.
Answers, thank you.
Other questions from the board? Questions from the public present? All right, with none offered, those in favor of approving the, recognizing the International Wildlife Refuge Alliance as a nonprofit organization, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None offered? It is so recognized. And we'll get that to Mrs. Urbani. And that completes our action items this evening. Move on to clerk's report. Mr. Rankin.
So, no report from the clerk's office, and things from the planning commission standpoint, we're not at full strength as we just appointed our last planning commissioner. Next meeting is in February, and nothing to report from police commission.
Okay, thank you, Clerk Rankin. Mr. Treasurer.
Thank you, Brian. For the month of December, Grosse Township had $15,314,524 invested in various accounts. These accounts generated an interest income of $1,013 with an average interest rate of 0.18. We're waiting for the day that changes. The 2013 winter tax bills are due in 2 weeks, February 14th. Payment will be accepted timely that are postmarked by February 14th. Taxpayers can also use the drop box that we have outside Township Hall after hours. Or you can pay at most of the Grosse Ile banks and credit unions. There will be a 3% penalty assessed for payments received or postmarked after the due date of March 1st, 2013. Beginning March 2nd, all unpaid 2012 property taxes are considered delinquent. That's all 2012 property taxes. And they must be paid to Wayne County with further penalty and interest. And I strongly urge you to save yourself a trip down there because I've seen that operation. It's not pleasant. Extension of the February 14th due date is available for those who qualify. Winter tax deferment applications are also due by February 14th. Applications are available at the Treasurer's Office and online. Approved deferments will extend the February 14th due date until April 30th, 2013. There's a complete list of investments that the township has. When we see a number like $13 or $15 million, it's obvious that we haven't made all of our disbursements from our taxes as of this point, so some of that will end up going to school, some of it back to the counties. But all you need to do is stop into the township, myself or Annette will see that you have a copy of this, and it outlines where all our money is at that whopping 0.18 interest. In case you wanted to jump on a bandwagon and get that great interest on your own. The Airport Commerce Park Commission did not meet in January. We'll meet on the third Monday, I believe, of February. Is that correct? Okay. Tuesday the 19th. All right. And I have nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Treasurer. Move on to trustees' reports, and we'll start with Mrs. Smith.
Got a couple of things. Attended a session at Michigan State University at the Institute of Public Policy, and basically that particular session pertained to counterfeit products and how it's bad for the economy as well as Michigan. The implications of something as that is really they're looking for local level community awareness as well as facilitating interagency cooperation. So it seemed pretty logical to me, nothing really on our end. On the 16th, had our Communications Commission meeting. It was a very productive meeting. At that particular point, we reappointed Kathy Walker to another one-year term as chairwoman. At this point, trying to set up a meeting with the Grosse Ile schools and Bill Ice and a couple of other folks over there to determine what our mutual needs are as far as communications is concerned, being web and television. And we also have an RFP out right now for web design and content management, and that ends February 7th at 4 p.m., so any interested parties out there, I suggest you get those in by then. Last week, I was over at the Michigan Township Association annual conference. I thought it was very good, especially for somebody like myself who doesn't have a lot of experience in this position as of yet, and there's a lot of really good breakout sessions, so I hope to bring that knowledge forward and assist the community. And then last week, I also went to the Downriver Community Conference. They were hosting a brief open house, and I got to see some of the good things that they actually do for the communities in the Downriver area. And they do have a report, which I have a copy of. If anybody wants a copy of it, I can get that to you. But the return on investment as far as our community is concerned, over $108,000 in specific services to our residents was conducted in the last year, and that includes anything from weatherization, low-income energy assistance, transportation of elderly and low-income workforce development and employment services, as well as some of the mutual aid to the public services. So, that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Smith. Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor, and good evening, everyone. I am very fortunate to deal with a very active committee concerned with a project called Promoting Active Communities. And as I said last time, it's hard to catch up with a horse that's running that fast. And they are running fast. This is quite a dedicated group. There is a significant audit, a self-audit that we had to fill in, and we made great progress on it. We're not quite done yet. And I'm sure I'm going to be called on to contribute a little bit more to it. But we've got some really dedicated folks in that committee. I'm also looking forward to my first meeting of the Open Space Committee. Woody is going to initiate me and give me the secret sign and all of that. So, just one more comment, and that is last weekend we had a chili contest and brownie contest at the VFW. A lot of folks in the community showed up for that. And we did have a champion, and sometimes when you get a champion chili maker, it's a private homeowner, and you have to have an in to get a bowl of that special chili. But I'm pleased to tell you that the champion this year, the first prize winner, was Sharky's Restaurant. Best chili. So if you want a good bowl of chili, I can tell you where to go. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Modesto.
First off, I'd like to say that as far as the fire department goes, we don't have an updated number of calls that they made for January, but I can tell you they're very active. They've got a lot of things on the back burner, not back burner, but on the fire, so to speak, and we'll be talking about that in meetings to come. Second of all, I've had the pleasure of attending my second meeting with the Recreation Committee, and that's a very dynamic group. And Tim, I want to be correct on this. The meeting about a kayak launch will be February 4th,
Right.
7 o'clock at the Centennial Farm. Everybody's invited, and it's to discuss a proposed kayak launch and kayak activities around Grosse Ile. I think that anybody who's interested, please attend it, and we're looking for your input on it. That should do it.
I think we have some flyers that look like this on the little stand in the back, so if you're interested, pick one up. It has the time and date that Mr. Malvesto just reported, and thank you, sir. Mr. Bundy.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. This month, the DPS Commission did not meet. However, we will be meeting in February. It's the second Tuesday of the month. I believe it's February 12th. I would encourage everybody to put that on their calendar and come out and join our meeting. The ZBA did meet this month. We had a lively appeal. Also, at that meeting, we did elect Jim Bittinger for another year as chairman. That meeting is the fourth Tuesday of every month, so that actually, unlike other commissions that talk about ideas, that talks about appeals of zoning zoning ordinances, and it is quite interesting. So if you have nothing to do, come down to that meeting. And as usual, I would encourage everybody to, at some point in time, come down to our board meetings. We have, from what I can see here, 4 residents here who are just residents. So we have plenty of chairs here to fill up. But really, I would encourage you to come out and at some point and come to the meeting and see your township board in action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bunting. All right, moving on to supervisor's report. And Mr. Malvesto brought us up to speed on the kayak meeting. In the back room, we have another flyer on AARP. If you're an AARP member and you use it for other than matinee tickets, which are real inexpensive at some of the local theaters, they're also offering tax assistance in completing the 2012 Michigan federal income tax returns. Flyers are available in the back of the room, but the short version is you have to make an appointment. The phone number is published. The appointment line is open and will be open for it's beginning on the 22nd. So if the appointment line is open, and preparation will begin on February 4th and end on April 11th. So there's hundreds, maybe thousands of changes to the tax laws. Most will not be affected by most of them, but everybody will be affected by some of them. So do your taxes wisely. And let's see, the rec department has some events coming up. The daddy-daughter dance, mother and son bowling on February 22nd. The daddy-daughter dance on February 8th. Easter egg hunt. Plan on that. That's a blast. Saturday, March 23rd. We have a flyer announcing these. It's also available in the back of the room. You can contact the rec department at 675-2364 or stop by Water's Edge to get tickets. Advanced registration is required for these events. A couple other upcoming items. First, we've had some cold weather. Now we've got some warmer weather. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, stay off the ice. Chief says, stay off the ice, okay? We have a very qualified rescue organization, but if they don't have to launch the boats or the guys ever for the rest of this winter, it'll be just fine with me. So the ice is not safe. It's going to get less safe over the next few days. Please stay off the ice. Okay, in the foreseeable future, we're planning a working dinner with the Township Board and with the School Board to work on opportunities for collaboration, where we can work together to learn from each other and make the community operate better as a team. So this will be a posted event since we'll have both decision-making bodies there. I don't think we won't make any decisions at those, but we'll get a working idea of what we need to do going forward, improving the community. That event will be posted when it's scheduled. And also our study session earlier this evening was on board meeting format to have make more productive, better use of our times and better use of the information available at board meetings. Considering changing the agenda a little bit, going back to opening public comment, a short public comment period at the beginning of the meeting. These are things that are just on the table where you can comment on action items. Since we now publish on the web page the board packets. When the meeting starts, you know as much as we do going into the board meeting. You should be able to ask questions before we begin discussion, before we vote on the items. So that's one of the things under consideration, along with a comment period at the end of the meeting on just general items or items of concern to the public. So we'll discuss this more at the next board meeting, but that's one of the things we're considering. Every board has its own personality, and this board seems to be trending in that direction. Let us know what you think. And that concludes my supervisor's update. Mr. Township Manager, Dale, Mr. Rio.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. On behalf of Finance Director Darznik, who is unable to attend this evening's meeting, she wanted me to bring to the attention of Mr. Clark legal fees on the check register dated January 25th. O'Reilly Rensilio, $2,363. Coots and Sangster, $189. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Lim. At this time, we'll open it up to extended public comment. If you know the rules, would you introduce yourself, please, so we can record your name and address, and we'll limit it to 3 minutes. The mic is yours. Mr. Clark? Mr. Clark?
How you doing, Ted? Woody Clark, Park Lane, Roseville. On that ice thing you brought up, if our firemen have to go out and risk their lives with some fool that's out there on the water or on the ice, I think they should be charged for it.
Noted.
Also, just a little saying, so don't get excited. A gun is like a parachute. If you need one and don't have one, you'll probably never need one again.
All right, who wants to follow that? Thank you, Mr. Clark. Any other comments? What are your tough opinions? Okay, any other comments from the public present? All right, with that offered, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Supervisor, I move to recess to closed session.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion, we do have to keep the public meeting open. We have a motion to adjourn to closed session. Thanks, sir. Seconded by Mr. Budney. Discussion? Those in favor of adjourning to, retiring to closed session, signify by saying aye.